Hello guys, and welcome to this week's episode of You've Got Issues. I'm your host Idia Aisian, and this is the show where you send in your questions, and with the help of my lovely guests, we give you tips and advice. Remember, we're not experts, but a problem shared is indeed a problem halved. Today we're going to be talking about everything beauty and how to start or build your beauty business and empire. And I have with me award-winning makeup artist and the CEO of Tenny Coco Studios, Teniola Kasham. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And I also have with me the gorgeous lifestyle and beauty YouTuber, Dimma Ume. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you doing? Okay, so you guys ready to help me solve some tough beauty questions? Okay, so let's take our first question for the day. Let's hear it from the board.
I want to go into the beauty industry, but I feel it is a saturated market and it will be difficult to grow in. As an upcoming artist and beauty vlogger, what would you advise I do to stay relevant?
Okay, so I think it's a very important question because I've thought about it too so many times. I've always been interested in like lifestyle videos, beauty, etc. But I'm like, first of all, I don't really know a lot about, coaching other people on beauty. I just wanted to do stuff that I'm interested in, stuff that works for me. And then I'm always worried, like there's so many people out there that are doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. So how do you stand out? How do you stay relevant? And I want to start with you, Dimma.
Okay. So I'm going to just be talking about the social media aspect of it purely because that's where I'm immersed, irrespective of the fact that I'm making money off of it. So the thing I'll just say to anyone who is looking to start is to try as much as possible to be consistent. Consistency, it matters a lot. That was how I just got myself out there. Don't look at the stats on your first video and be like, oh my god, this is crap, I'm so, because I see people tell me that all the time. I did this video and it didn't do well. I'm like, and you stopped? Just keep doing it and try and follow trends, see what is happening, because that helps a lot.
With your videos,
videos. For example, I just did a video recently talking about the powder before foundation technique. It's something that's kind of trending on YouTube, just to get your foundation last longer. Mm-hmm. Try to tap into that, because when there's something in trend, people come searching for it, and then they end up seeing you, and then you end up just getting all these people that at the end of the day, you wouldn't have attracted with your regular videos, So try and be consistent and be yourself. And the reason why I really, really believe that it's important that you be yourself is that the camera can pick up when you're uncomfortable. The camera can pick up when you're trying to force things. So it's really, really important, because YouTube, I feel like, it's all about being relatable. More than even talent, more than your techniques. Mm-hmm. It's more about people being able to relate to you. I remember when I was starting, I was like, this Nigerian girl, we don't understand my slangs, we don't understand my sense of humor, But then you will see that a lot of people come from all these different backgrounds and they are able to relate. We can't all be the same. So you're giving them this extra something alongside this. They like it. So be yourself. Don't try to force things. It will help you a lot. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dimma. And Tenny, I know that you have a business in this, so can you tell us more on that side of how to get started and how to stay relevant? Because if you pick up on like the trends that everybody's doing, how do you stand out and how do you get people to constantly tap into what you're doing?
Okay, so for me, I would say like talent, first of all, is very important, and you having passion for what you do, because once you love what you do, then that it just helps. Okay, so another thing is you getting out of your comfort zone and trying to do what you're not used to. Like if, for instance, now there's a look you kind of shy away from, like me, for instance, like I shy away from bold looks and stuff, but just to put yourself out there and to kind of grab the attention of your audience, just try to get out of your comfort zone. Then in terms of making money off it, there are also like side things you can add, like in terms of like you can sell makeup, you can do master classes, just get out of your comfort zone, try to be different, and you don't necessarily have to follow like the crowd and do what everyone else is doing. You can stick to trend and not necessarily be lost in the crowd. So yeah.
Okay, well I think obviously Dimma and Tenny have said a lot of very interesting and important facts. Dimma said that you should make sure that you are consistent, and I think that really, really helps with staying relevant, because if you post once a month, I mean, come on. The competition is going to swallow you up. And then after a while, people sort of like simmer down and they're not checking as much because they've checked a few times and you weren't posting. And then I think also getting out of your comfort zone is very important as well. But one thing I would like to add is I also think that thinking out of the box is very important in staying relevant, because there's somebody that started the videos with the powder first before foundation technique. So why not be that first person, you know, to do something that people haven't seen before. Like you can just be like, oh, a new method of strubbing, or a new, I don't know, something, you know, something that is also like DIY, cost effective, stuff like that. People like to see things like that because there's a lot of things that people want to do, but they also cannot afford to do. So, you know, just thinking outside the box. And Dimma, you had something else to say?
When it comes to, you know, techniques that actually help with wear and stuff like that, people don't really mind. But then the thing I would say about thinking outside the box is to just be really, really careful from experience, because I feel like us here in this part of, generally I feel like women of color, we tend to be a lot more conservative with the things we try to do. So you might be seeing there's something that some, you know, white women are like pushing is this technique. For example, there was this soap brows technique that came out one time, and you know, people were doing it on YouTube, and then it was I first saw a white YouTuber do it, but then we can be very, very loud that if there are things that are so unconventional that you try it and then it ends up putting people off. Instead of them going,
because
wow,
like it's too hard,
this is interesting, and then some of them will be like, this is too much, this is you being too extra, irrespective of the fact that it's not really you. So I feel like women of color, we tend to be very, very conservative when we try to push new things. I would say if you're trying to,
but once you try it first, are you going to try it the day that you're recording?
Yeah, you try the day you're recording, and then it works for you. But then you're coming to show it to them. When you show it to them, they'll be like, this one is you, Dimma, this is being too extra. People will just come under there and be saying all kinds of random things that don't even have anything to do with
the video.
Situation.
But that's the life of YouTube.
And I think that with the comment section on YouTube is like a competition, because the more dramatic or ridiculous the comment is, the more likes it will get, and then it's like they are trying to get themselves seen. So, you know.
And you also have to be really confident in yourself.
Yeah, because, you know, honestly, don't look for people to validate you on social
you
media.
Do not.
It's going to mess you up.
I think that the more engagement that you get online, the better. Right? Just know what you're actually doing before you post, and post something that, I mean, I think sometimes there are things that we start and people are not ready for. So just because you get a backlash with something doesn't mean that it's not going to eventually catch on. So like Tenny had mentioned earlier, be passionate about what you're doing, be confident, and you know, exactly.
Your skin should also be thick enough so that when that first backlash comes, you don't need to go hide somewhere and be like, oh, they all hate me. No, not really.
It's not, but it's just, I don't know.
Okay guys, so let's take our second question for the day. Let's hear it from the board.
Please, can you suggest eye makeup tips for someone with hooded eyes? My eyeliners and eyeshadows never show on my eyes.
Okay, so I'm going to throw this question to Tenny first, because I think I have hooded eyes though. Like, you can't see it because of the makeup, but my eyes are very, you know, narrow. A little.
Okay, so I think, I know that it helps if you put your eyeshadow primer basically like above where your lids are.
Not on the actual lid?
Not on, they're just slightly above. So that way, you know, it creates an illusion of, you know, fuller and, you know, bigger looking eyes. So another important tip is to use eyeshadow primers that do not smudge. If you have hooded eyes, it's very important that you use an eyeshadow primer, and you need one that does not and will not smudge. So you can try Urban Decay eyeshadow primer portion. That really, really works. So.
Okay. Dimma.
Okay, when it comes to this, my eyes are not really hooded, but then what I have learned over the years and just seen from experience to tell people who have really hooded eyes is one tip I know that really works is just like Tenny said, try and create lid space outside of what you already have. So try to go past where your actual lid is when it comes to application. Let's say you're a makeup artist, especially let's say you're working on someone who has hooded eyes. Pulling up the actual, because at the end of the day, the hood is just like it's just extra flesh in that area.
Skin,
so to get into the crease, you just pull it up a little bit while you're applying. Secondly, use a very good primer like she said. And then third, aside from creating like, you know, extra lid space, I do know people who actually work with what they have, like the actual lid space that they have. I know YouTubers that I follow, like Alisa Ashley, for example. These are people that have hooded eyes and they are just working it. They're not trying to like create extra. Yeah, they are just trying to work with what they have. So one advice I would really give, especially for someone who applies makeup on themselves, is try and watch videos by YouTubers or just bloggers who have the same features as you do. It helps you figure out how to work with your own features. So,
Exactly.
Okay, well, I have a question. What is this technique where you use the white pencil inside of the eyes to sort of make the eyes look bigger? Does that help with hooded eyes?
No, I think that's more just to create the illusion that you have bigger eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that doesn't help if your eyes are hooded.
Yeah.
No, it's just
And I think a cut crease actually works for hooded eyes. If you do a cut crease,
you do a cut crease outside,
Yeah.
just increase
What is
the
a
lid.
cut? What?
it cuts like cut crease. So
Okay,
basically cutting
Create a very sharp crease. So normally,
okay.
you know, with normal crease colors, like the way my eyes are now, you
just
try to
blend
blend.
it
You blend everything out to soften it and deepen it. But with a cut crease, you're creating a very sharp
illusion.
line, just a very sharp line. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so you've heard from our guests. I'm not a makeup expert, but you've heard from our guests. It's very important to use a good primer to possibly pull up your eyelid so that you can get into the wrinkled parts of your eye. Guys, we have to take a quick break now. Don't forget that you can send in your questions to ygi@myspice.tv, and you can also hashtag YGI on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. More questions on beauty. We'll be back after the break, so don't go anywhere. Hello guys, and welcome back to You've Got Issues. I'm still here talking all things beauty and starting a beauty business with Tenny and Dimma. And now we're about to take our third question for the day, so let's hear it from the board.
How can I prevent myself from having fine lines after highlighting and setting my under eye concealer?
Okay, so this question is very interesting because I don't do my makeup. I'm not really good with makeup, but I have witnessed somebody or people trying to do my makeup, and then it's sort of like creases out or whatever after the makeup is done already. So how can you prevent this problem? And I'm going to start with you, Dimma.
Okay, with the way the question was structured, I want to assume that this person is referring to two different things.
Yep.
So first of all, like there are just like normal wrinkles that we have under. You have it, I have it. So they're just little creases that you have underneath your immediate eye area. So one thing I'd say when it comes to just getting your foundation and your application to last as much as possible is don't use too much product in that area. The more concealer you pack, because this is the place where concealer normally goes, so the more concealer you apply in this area, the probability that it's going to crease, it increases. You know, it's going to crease irrespective. Sometimes even when it's set, it will still crease. So one good way to get around that is to not apply too much at once. And then let's say the person was referring to lines that you probably get after you've set the faces. The thing is that really with a lot of people, the skin we have under our immediate eye area is the most delicate skin in our face. There is no bone under that area, and in most cases when you see people who have oily skin, the rest of their face is oily, but then for me especially, the rest of my face is oily, but then my immediate under eye area, I have normal to dry skin there. So you know that you don't treat this area the way you treat the rest of your face. So I can go on and pack this much powder on my face to prevent oil, but then when you do it here, the effect is not going to be the same because this place is drier and it will look dry and wrinkly if you do too much in that area. So don't, like for example, if you watch my videos, you see I don't bake. Like you know how people bake and then they go on applying their makeup. I don't do that. That's too much powder for me. So I just set that area lightly with powder, and that's also, don't use too much powder and don't use too much concealer.
Okay, Tenny, what would you advise the person to do?
Okay, so for me, I would say you should probably use a really good setting powder. You could try Laura Mercier, you could try Sasha Cosmetics. Those would really help stop the creasing underneath your eyes.
Okay, well thank you guys so much. I hope our guests have been able to help you with that problem a little. I had the same problem, so I don't really have any tips for you, but the quality of the powder that you use is very, very important. And then also, if you're baking, just know what works for you. Baking might not be for you, and also the quality of the products that you use is very important. We're going to take our next question for the day, so let's hear it from the board.
Is it advisable for me to quit my day job and start my beauty business as a makeup artist? If not, is there a recipe for creating a beauty brand that is poised with immediate success and sustainable long-term growth?
I would suggest that, you know, if you shouldn't quit your job almost immediately. You could start, you know, doing maybe home calls, you know, during the weekends, and, you know, see how it goes from there, because, you know, it doesn't happen overnight. You can't just start today and you think you would attain success immediately. No, it's years and years and years of, you know, building something,
hard work,
you know, building hard work, and, you know, building a brand that people would want to be associated with. So I suggest that you still keep your job, but you can, you know, just start by, like I said earlier, home calls here and there, and see how you can go from there. Then when the time is right, you can now quit your job.
Dimma?
Okay, for me with this, since like I'm not really into artistry, it's more of the, social media vlogging bit of it. I'll just say, like she said, you have to see that there is a need for you to quit your job. For example, when I started making videos, I was doing it alongside work. I was doing my youth service at the time. However, everything started growing. You have to, number one, you have to be very passionate about this. Don't go into any of these things now thinking it's because of money. But if you go into it for money purely, it's just not. You have to be very, very passionate about it. Number two, you have to see that people are watching your videos. People are actually coming back to watch you have an audience.
Exactly.
And then the talent is there as well. You have to take times where you step back, look at what you're doing. Is it being successful? How much have you grown over a certain period of time?
Exactly.
Because the truth is that you're actually going to grow and get to a point where it is unavoidable
that you have to focus on.
You will get to a point where you've grown so much that you can't actually do this thing alongside a day job anymore. But then know that you've gotten to that point first. And then two, for someone into it, have you been contacted by brands? Have you gotten any kind of endorsements? Because these are the potential sources of like revenue, income for you. And if you've not even gotten one or two or three of them, people approach you saying, would like you to do this for us, and then it will pay you. Don't just stop your
Just
work.
keep doing it.
Just keep doing it.
Yeah.
That's the side.
Well, I think what both of you have said is very, very important. I think that, for instance, if you're trying to be a makeup, it depends on the kind of beauty business you're starting. That's the first thing I'll tell you. So are you trying to be a makeup artist? Are you trying to sell a product? Are you trying to be a YouTuber so that you can represent, critique other people's products, right? For instance, because you may not even necessarily be getting huge endorsements, but some people may just be paying you here and there.
Of course, it's never huge. YouTube endorsements
paying you
are
here
never
and there to showcase products and sort of rate those products. The first thing I'll say when it comes to being a makeup artist is you cannot underestimate the power of social media. So there's a lot of people here that I know, their work, we were seeing it online and we were like, wow. Do you understand? Because they first probably started small with their loyal, with people that they knew. And then those pictures went out online. They saw the amount of people that were gravitating towards them because of the work that had been produced. So first focus on the work that you're doing. Focus on being consistent and really, really good at it before you now think about quitting your job. If you're not very busy or invested in what you're doing, why would you want to just rely on an income stream that isn't even there yet, or isn't even big yet, or hasn't grown yet, right? So there's that angle of first getting feedback that people genuinely are interested. Exactly. Not that you're going around begging people to watch your videos or you're begging them face where you're begging people to do makeup with you.
And this is really important, this feedback, being open to it. Don't be too sensitive when it comes to your work. I'll tell you, even you should be your biggest critic as a person. That's why I said, if you even do, I can make videos for 1 month, 2 months, you step back. Right now I'm taking a mini break. Look at what you've done so far. Don't be too sensitive. Even when people leave comments under your... Everybody's not trying to attack you. Some people genuinely mean you well. It might just be with the way they've just, but don't be too sensitive when it comes to your work. And it's really, really true what she said. You have to accept feedback and work with what you've been given. Okay.
Well, that's all I have to say. I think what the guest said about having that audience first is the most important factor, and that audience is even what is going to make your business sustainable in the long term. So if you don't have an audience, if you did makeup for one person, the person didn't come back, you did makeup for another person, so clearly there's probably something that you need to change or to be better. You have to have your own following online. You have to have your own following, loyal customers in person before you get to a point where you think of quitting your job. Guys, we have to take a quick break. Don't forget that you can leave your comment online by hashtagging YGI or emailing YGI@myspice.tv. Don't go anywhere. Hello guys, and welcome back to You've Got Issues. I'm still here talking all things beauty with Tenny and Dimma. So we're about to take our last question for the day. Let's hear it from the void.
There has been a whole craze with microblading in the cosmetic industry. I want to know how hygienic and safe this method is.
Okay, so wow, this is a very interesting question because a lot of people are doing this microblading thing right now, and it's a huge craze, and I'm interested in doing it next week. So I kind of want to know the answer to this question. So starting with you, Tenny.
For me, I think it's really safe, and the most important thing for me is to go to a beautician that is registered. Just don't go to any quack that would stamp one ridiculous thing on your face. For people who do not have eyebrows, I think it's something that you can definitely try.
Okay, but I want to know, so why wouldn't you do it?
Because my eyebrows are perfectly.
Okay, all right. Okay, so Dimma.
Yeah, I have very sparse eyebrows, and you know, honesty is not something that like I probably see myself considering it in the future. However, since this whole question is centered on hygiene, one thing I'll just say is just take the necessary precautions, all the precautions that you will take. For example, when you're going to a barber to get your hair cut, because it involves sterilizing equipment, make sure that the person that you're dealing with, because with the microblading, it does leave very, very tiny cuts, not cuts that will leave scars, but then the probability you will get very tiny cuts.
Yeah, because you're sore for a few days.
And it's a very, very tiny needle, so just take the necessary precautions. Make sure that the person that you're going to sterilizes their stuff. It's really important. So yeah.
Okay, well, for me, I'm definitely going to try microblading. One, because my BFF and my cousin just started the business, and it has taken her months, weeks, certificate upon certificate of training, you know, to do it. And I think that those are the processes that you need to go through.
It's very comforting
before you can say you're going to start it. You actually apparently can't just wake up and say you do lashes or this or that. You can't. You have to go through a lot of trainings, you have to get a lot of certificates to be able to get it done. So for me, seeing how hard she has worked and how much she has put into it, I don't think she's about to go and now, you know, give somebody some kind of huge injury or infection exactly on their eye. So for me, I think, you know, I think it's pretty safe, but just go to somebody that you trust, you know, and if you don't know anybody, you don't trust anybody, check out the reviews online. And if you're not satisfied with that, then you don't have to microblade.
You can go for a consultation first to meet with the
exactly. Okay, well, that's all that we have for today. Thank you so much to Tenny and Dimma for being here. It's been so amazing.
Pleasure.
And thank you to Bow Concept for this lovely, lovely, lovely location. And to you guys back home for watching. You guys are stars. We will be here same time and same place next week on You've Got Issues, so you better tune in.